Hello and welcome to the late night edition with me, Yashwant Varma. A scandal has hit the Delhi High Court when a fire broke out at the residence of Justice Yashwant Varma on Tughlaq Road on the 14th of March. The Delhi Fire Service and police responded and successfully controlled the blaze. But during the cooling operations, a large amount of cash was allegedly discovered. Following the charges, an emergency meeting of the Supreme Court Collegium was held, which led to the transfer of Justice Yashwant Varma from the Delhi High Court back to his parent court, the Allahabad High Court. Now the Supreme Court has initiated an in-house probe seeking a report from the Delhi High Court Chief Justice. Further action will be taken by the Supreme Court Collegium after the report. Meanwhile, the president of the Allahabad High Court Bar Association has strongly objected to the Supreme Court Collegium's decision to transfer Justice Varma back to the Allahabad High Court, saying, and I quote, "We are not a trash bin." Now, this case, while it is a matter for investigation, has once again brought the issue of transparency in the judiciary back into the public limelight, raising questions over the internal checks of the Collegium system. But to decode that further, I'm joined by a panel of erudite legal minds: Jai Anand Dehadrai, Supreme Court Advocate, Kailash Vasdev, Senior Advocate at the Supreme Court, as well as Majid Memon, Senior Advocate at the Supreme Court. Good evening, gentlemen, and thank you for joining us on CNN News 18. A huge scandal has jolted the judiciary. But Mr. Vasdev, I will come to you first. How do you measure the action of the Supreme Court to initiate an in-house investigation and the transfer order to the Allahabad High Court?
Question is, what do you do immediately? You don't pick up a judge who's charged for corruption and send him to another high court. It is not an answer. The answer is, what do you do in these circumstances to stem the rot? The rot has come into the system. We hear of these cases every now and then. We get apprehensive of appearing before some judges. We are apprehensive of going to some courts. Apprehensions in court are not essentially corruption in forms of money. It can also be incompetence. It can also be a situation where the person is pliable. What do we do in those circumstances when there is no proof? The in-house system of our judicial system has to change. You cannot go on the same patterns as you have gone on for the past 30 years or 50 years. Stand up. Get the judiciary to work. Say if there's somebody incompetent, what happens today? Let me give you an example. We've been getting WhatsApp messages that this gentleman is not the only one. There are a lot of houses which should be burned down so that the fire department can go and investigate instead of the IB or ED or whatever you call it. Because they found the money. When the ED and the other people go, they don't find any traces, so nothing happens. So the failure is a comprehensive failure in investigation at all ends. We in our own system are unable to do so. Why do we have this funny situation where we transfer judges on the grounds of corruption or an in-house prima facie finding that the man is not correct or the person is not correct, and then we do nothing about it? We have got to wake up to the fact that we have corruption in our system. It is becoming a very difficult situation to avoid corruption because corruption is inherent. If it is inherent, then find a way within the judicial system to scotch it. Transferring Judge Varma today from Delhi High Court to Allahabad High Court is not an answer. You don't move the muck from one carpet to the other. Suspend him. You've done it in other cases. Take action. Recommended impeachment if you have the wherewithal and the capacity to do so. You did that for V. Ramaswamy. Why can't you do it here?
Strong words, Mr. Vasdev. And on that note, Jai Dehadrai, the public anger against the judiciary and this sentiment that the internal checks via the Collegium system are opaque, is that criticism a valid one?
No, I don't think that criticism is valid, given the situation in which sort of the circumstances in which our judiciary operates in our country. I think you need distinct separation between the state and the judiciary. I mean, between the executive and the judiciary. So in that sense, I think the best system we have as of now is the Collegium. Yes, it requires some reform. It requires some changes. But given the present situation in which these allegations are being made against a judge of the High Court, I think the Collegium has acted perfectly. They've taken action immediately. They've called for an inquiry and an investigation headed by the Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court. And now they've given a chance to, the judge to respond. So I think in terms of the response of the Collegium, I think it has been absolutely appropriate.
Right. Mr. Memon, I want to get your take now. Mr. Dehadra says the separation of systems of checks and balances is essential. But does this scandal only add insult to injury to the image of the judiciary in the public sphere?
This is reflecting very poorly on the people's impression with regard to our administration of justice. As it is, the confidence of the people has been in the past few years deteriorating. And we have in fact seen that Chief Justice of India in recent past have made public statements that even in the matters of personal liberty, the judges below are scared to grant bail, which itself was a very shocking and very heartbreaking statement coming from no other than the person who is sitting at the top of judicial pyramid. And sitting Chief Justice of India lamenting publicly that the judges below are scared to grant bail does not augment well with regard to the fairness of the administration of justice where personal liberty is compromised. Now, today, this exposure is adding fuel to the feelings of the people that probably everything is not fine with the administration of justice. Are the judges vulnerable to some kind of temptation of monetary benefits or some influence which is extra-legal, which is working behind? Now, this is only showing the administration of justice in a very poor way. I think the Honorable Chief Justice of India, by merely transferring that judge from one Delhi to some other high court, does not cure the malady, because it is like throwing refuse in neighbor's compound.
I'll take that point to Mr. Dehadra, who seems to be the outlier in this debate. Now, Mr. Dehadra, both these legal luminaries, including Mr. Salve, have said that the very act of the transfer damages faith in the judiciary. Doesn't that merit a serious relook given the importance of public faith in national institutions?
No, I don't know. I mean, these are all highly respected individuals. Mr. Salve, for instance, one has the greatest respect for him. But with all due respect to all of these sort of legal giants and titans, I, for one, haven't seen any proof or any shred of proof that indicates that there was this room full of cash. I haven't seen it. So now I haven't, unless and until the facts are absolutely clear, I think it's extremely unfair and inappropriate to hang a man and to condemn a person like this. And let's not forget, he's a member of the judiciary. And, for us now to launch into a media trial on the basis of, and to hold him guilty through that media trial, despite the fact that there isn't any proof or any evidence. In fact, there is material to the contrary. You have the Delhi Fire Department that has now come out with a statement where they've said that no recoveries were made at all. So where is this report coming from? Who is this person who's saying that there were, mountains of cash burning in a room and so on and so forth? I mean, I, for one, have not seen it. So the facts don't seem to be very clear. So I refuse to condemn this person. And in light of that, any action adverse to this person's present situation, this judge's present situation, such as transferring him immediately and so on, I don't think it's appropriate at all.
Right.
Let the inquiry happen. Let there be a full-fledged inquiry where this person is investigated. Yes, if there is proof and there is evidence that he is guilty, sure enough, the law will take its own course and impeachment proceedings could possibly follow. But without there being an inquiry, on what basis are you shunting him out of a court and sending him to another court? I refuse to accept this sort of banana republic knee-jerk justice. This is unfair. This man needs proper legal recourse. Yes, he's a judge, but that doesn't mean he has any less access or any less right to, justice himself. This is my firm view.
That's a very good counterpoint, Mr. Dehadra. But Mr. Vasudev, come in on that. You feel beyond the tenets of any investigation into the charges, the conduct in the wake of the charges highlight a bigger malaise in the judiciary.
Public view of the judiciary today is abysmally poor. An average man on the street does not have respect for our judiciary. They openly say, we can manage this. We have people who are managing affairs. We have judges' connections. We have connections with the politicians who know the judges. We have bureaucrats who will do our job. This never happened 20 years ago. We could not think of saying that a High Court or a Supreme Court judge was corrupt. Today it is a regular statement. And if we are not able to stop this, God help us. The single arm of the Constitution, which is there for the purposes of protection of rights, will become an arm which is cancerous and a disaster to the system. It will be of no consequence. Look at it in the flip side. Courts issue writs, do this, clean that place up, remove illegal structures, remove unauthorized buildings, preserve the forests, preserve the monuments. From 1985, there are thousands of judgments which have come, and everyone has been followed in the breach. None of the judgments have really been implemented on the ground, excepting for a wishy-washy effect. If your executive says, pass kar do order, dekha jayega. There also is judicial corruption, because you don't take action after you take a decision. We are moving in very troubled times in the judiciary. And with a lot of respect to the judges, a lot of respect to my colleagues at the bar, I request all of us to get down together and find an answer. Otherwise, the faith in the system has eroded. It will erode more.
Mr. Memon, come in on that. I don't think you exactly share Mr. Vasudev's sentiments on this entire matter, but is the transfer to another court and the investigation by other judges, this internal investigation, this internalized kind of dealing with this entire scandal, is that the crux of the public outrage?
You see, in-house inquiry also, you see, there have been in the past, we have seen who will judge the judges. Now, who will inquire about the judge's offense if he has committed any? That's the problem. So long as a person is occupying the position of the High Court or the Supreme Court judge or the Constitutional Court, he can't be subjected to any inquiry, be it in-house, be it by his colleague judges, or be it by IB or CBI or something like that, unless he is made to step down. And in fact, see, this is on the face of it appearing to be something very serious.
I'll take that point to Mr. Dehadra, and Mr. Dehadra, I'll give you the final word. I think that is the problem. If this was a common man, the ED and the police would be at the doorstep of that individual in whose home so much cash was found. A minister or government official would be crucified. The case has reignited the debate. Are judges above public scrutiny?
No, I understand this. From a layperson's perspective, this does seem a little unfair, and it seems as though judges are treated differently and more specially than other sort of individuals. But I don't agree. There is a reason why judges are treated differently. It's so that they're insulated from any pulls and pressures that might come from the executive or from any other branch of government. So there is a need to protect them, which is why there are these protections inbuilt in our system. Now, having said that, the system that we have available is also excellent. You have their fellow judges, yes, but these are judges belonging to the Supreme Court and a Chief Justice of the same court, and one has no reason whatsoever to doubt their integrity or to assume that they will not conduct a fair inquiry just because the person being inquired into is a judge. So I have no reason personally to doubt the integrity of those who are carrying out this inquiry. And there's another very important point. The instances and examples and illustrations of corruption that emerge from the judiciary are extremely rare, few and far in between. And certainly even rarer when it comes to, say, the High Court and the Supreme Court, especially when you compare it to, say, the bureaucracy in India, the IAS, IPS, and so on, and certainly the political class. So when you have these figures and statistics clearly in front of you, it means that by and large, our judiciary works flawlessly. Yes, there may be one or two cases where, some, incidents, there are rotten eggs everywhere, but again, that has to be proved. There has to be proof. There has to be evidence. There has to be an inquiry that is done acceptable by law. You can't just simply have, summary justice where a rumor is put out on social media, then there is a media trial, and then you hang the person upside down. I don't accept this. I think it's extremely unfair.
Absolutely. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the broadcast and decoding this entire scandal for us. Of course, there are points and counterpoints when it comes to this entire controversy. Jayanand Dehadrai, Kailash Vasudev, Majid Mehmood, thank you for joining us on the broadcast.